All right. The next one, managing a successful Pokemon League. You know, when somebody tells you to take a chance on a judge and a person, and you never know quite what you're getting into, and all of a sudden, I think Renee's the one who turned to me on and said, hey, I've got this guy Daryl who does a whole bunch of stuff in southern Florida, somewhere down, it's all southern Florida to me. And I've worked with Daryl over the past couple years, and it's just amazing. His level of organization, his level of professionalism, and always with a smile on his face and an energy that just makes it all better. So, in managing a successful Pokemon League, which is the basis of our game, what we're seeing here this weekend is 1,400 players who are willing to pay $50 each to play this game. Those players come from somewhere, and usually we're trying to grow them in a Pokemon League. These aren't 1,400 players from St. Louis. These are 1,400 players from around the United States that we are developing and trying to get interested in this game. So Daryl, you've got a great set of information that the Littles have passed out to everyone. Thank you to the Littles. Daryl, take it away.
All right. Good evening. Hello, everyone. Hi. My name is Daryl. I am from Southwest Florida, which, for those that, yes, it's the Gulf side, not the ocean side, but the big lake side. Just to give you a little background about myself, I currently own 3 leagues and manage 4. Translated means I have no life. But I enjoy every moment of the time that I spend. So tonight we're just going to quickly go over, I've been seeing a lot on social media, in Discord, and in the Professor's Roundtable, just a lot of questions that are being asked about League. We've got a lot of new league owners, we got some new league leaders, and they really don't have much guidance other than the documents that are provided for them. And the hope of this is to answer some of your questions, discuss some of the issues that we're seeing in our leagues, and kind of going out into the world and fostering stronger leagues and a stronger community. So I am going to try to be as quick as possible and not take a whole hour. Oh yeah, please make sure if you have your sheet, I did have an activity plan for today with the sheet. I'll explain the sheet. You can do it on your own time and bring it home and do whatever you want to do with it, but I'll explain that in a little bit. So basically I'm going to go through a couple questions that we ask ourselves when we get into the program. First, why did we become a Pokemon professor? I mean, it just comes down to a few things. One, we love Pokemon. We grew up with it. We watched the anime. We played the video games. We've collected the cards for God knows how long. We've played the game for God knows how long. And we just absolutely love what this game means and this whole brand means to us. Part of that is also sharing that love. How do we show how much we appreciate that game to other people? That's part of why we become Pokemon professors, sharing our love. And getting a community that is so strong that we build that brand, we build that community, we build that love in our area for Pokemon. Now, what is the purpose of Pokemon Leagues? First, teach the basics. A lot of Pokemon Leagues are built on the basis of casual play, learning to play, getting them into the community, whether it's we're teaching them how to do VG or we're teaching them how to do TCG, or we're branching out with some Pokemon Go and some Pokken. Whatever we're doing, because I'm seeing a lot of that branching out going on, and that's great, because really what we want to do is, it's ultimately a Pokemon fan club. We're bringing those people in, we're showing them how much they love the game. I can't count how many, I'm an elementary school teacher. I can't count how many kids I've seen bring in Pokemon cards and are trading furiously, but don't know anything about the game. And kids coming up to me asking me, if there's something in the rules about prize cards, and do they get to keep the card? And it runs rampant, but that's part of why we have leagues. Get those kids in, start teaching them the basics, building that love, and spreading the joy. Strengthening and growing a Pokemon community through various activities. Whether it's we're doing premier events like cups and challenges, or we're doing fun events like the 27th is Pokemon Day. What's your league doing for Pokemon Day? You know, some of these fun things, you know, National Comic Book Day, the first Saturday of every May, is something that I take as an advantage to teach Pokemon. Get people in that have either heard of Pokemon or know the game or collected the cards as kids, and show them that there is a strong community and bring more in. And then providing a welcoming space for players. You know, the whole saying of a safe space. I really believe in that. I believe that Pokemon provides a safe space for many walks of life, many nationalities, beliefs, sexual orientations, whatever it is. They feel safe in this community. And Pokemon Leagues help foster that. And I want us to remember that, because a lot of the basis for what we do is for the love of the game. It's not for competitiveness. I mean, it's there. And my league is a very competitive league, but numero uno is for the love of the game. What we do, why we're there, why we enjoy what we do. So ultimately, I want us to make sure that when we are going to our leagues, we're remembering that. And we're reminding our players of that, because sometimes they can get a little out of hand with the competitiveness. And then I just want to talk about, real quick, current league issues and concerns. Some of the things I'm starting to see is a lot of leagues just discussing and concerned about a loss in player base. We're starting to see a lull. And some league owners are noticing it and are concerned. It's to be expected that we're going to get lulls. It comes and it goes. We got a huge influx of players once Pokemon Go came out. Like, out of the blue, they came back for nostalgia, and then we had these huge leagues. We started seeing numbers at regionals events just skyrocketing to numbers that we've never seen before, all because of relaunching a game and reestablishing that nostalgia. Now we're getting to the point where, like, Pokemon Go's been out for 2 years, and that crowd is starting to kind of fizzle a little bit. But we got something really cool coming out real soon that's going to help us rebuild our leagues again, and that's Detective Pikachu. I am thrilled about this. But this, you might notice after Detective Pikachu comes out, you're going to start seeing an influx of new players coming in, want to be like, oh man, I want to learn about this game. I want to know what this, be prepared. Know what is going to bring in the Pokemon community. It's all those nostalgic things, whether it's a new Pokemon movie that comes out or there's a new game that comes out. Some of us might have noticed that some of the regionals this year, we're starting to see some drop in attendance from previous years. We got to figure out what that is. Whether it's new building of community, we're getting players from other games coming in, we got a whole new demographic that we're dealing with, and we kind of have to adjust. Or if the game is getting to the point where it's a little stagnant with some of the decks that we have and players are getting frustrated. You know, that comes with every rotation. Eventually players will get tired of the same cards, and that's why we have rotation. But what are we doing to keep that passion alive and not letting them tire out? Some concerns were also relationship with store owners and location owners. Sometimes us, you know, some of us aren't as lucky as I am as being an employee of a comic book shop and also getting to run my Pokemon League, where I get that flexibility. Some of us don't have that. Some of us have to work around venues. So building that relationship with store owners, we want to make sure that we are staying in communication with them, letting them know that what we bring to their store brings in profits, brings in new players, brings in a new community of players for them. We want to make sure that they're seeing the benefits of us having a league there. Because too many times have I heard, no, we don't want a Pokemon League, we just deal with Magic. And I try to explain to them, you're going to miss out. You have a whole community of players here that you're not tapping into. And it's something that we need to do as league owners, judges, TOs. Make sure that we are staying in communication with those store owners and make sure that they know what we're offering them. Plus, it'll make it a lot easier when you're trying to schedule events. Because if you're not in that communication, you're not going to be able to schedule events when you want to schedule them. Discouraged player base. I mean, you're seeing it a lot. I can think of a few players that I see on Burbank a lot making complaints about how stagnant the game is and how discouraged they feel. And it's usually the same ones, but you know what they say, squeaky wheel gets the grease, and we hear it a lot. What are we doing? What are we doing to mix things up? What are we doing to make it not just competitive and making it casual but fun, bringing that passion back? Because that's really our focus. And then communication with other leagues. I can't count, let me tell you, some of you might have seen my post recently in the Professors Roundtable about how proud I was, how Florida got their stuff together and they were able to schedule 17 league cups with minimal doubling up. And that's not all of them. That's not all of them, though. We still had another 4 leagues that we're still trying to get finalized with their store owners, but that's still really good. Granted, it's not as many league cups as maybe Texas, but we're trying. But being in communication with each other. We all have our issues. We're all here to help each other out. We're not on our own island. Some league owners feel like they're on their own island and that they are going to do what they're going to do and nobody's there to help me. That is not true. And that's a big part of making sure that your league and the leagues in your state are successful, is that big communication piece. With that being said, I'm just going to give you a brief explanation of the sheet I gave you guys. So talking about these concerns, talking about what we're seeing at our leagues, that sheet gives you an opportunity to write down 3 things that you see as an issue at your league. Not every league is perfect. You may think it is, but not every league is perfect. We all have our issues. We all have our flaws. We may not have 3, but it's 3 if you can think of it. Look at those 3. And that last section at the bottom gives you an opportunity to just think this weekend. Think about what you can do. We're not asking you to make big changes. I'm not asking you to go out there and change your whole league around like we're going to do a complete 180 and everything we've done we're going to switch out. No, that's not what I'm looking for you to do. I'm looking for you to look at one thing that you can fix quick. Something small, something easy. You notice your league is too competitive. Maybe come up with something a little fun every once in a while to mix things up. And stick with it. And stick with it. Just anything. You might notice a change in your player base. Whether it's even going out into the community, going to local schools if you can, and talking to school districts or school principals and saying, hey, you know, we'd like to hand out flyers. I know every district has their own rules as far as handing out flyers, but looking at a new player base, bringing in more players, maybe establishing a league day for a Pokemon school. That's one thing that I started doing. Trying to get younger players in, because our player base is getting older and older, but we're starting to miss out on the younger and younger players. So what are we doing to build that up? I have my Pokemon school. Every Sunday I try to do a Pokemon school, get the kids in, teach them how to trade, teach them how to play the game, teach them how to sign up on Pokemon.com, getting them involved with the community. But that's really what I want you guys to do. Just take that sheet. I mean, if you leave the room and you crumple up the sheet and you want nothing to do with it, that's fine. It's your choice whether or not you want to help fix your league. That's you. I'm not going to hold your hand. Nobody's going to hold your hand. You're on it on your own. But if you want to see changes, you have to be the driving force. So before, I'm just going to wrap this up real quick with best practices, and then maybe a couple group shares if anybody wants to share anything. Best practices. Let's talk about monthly reporting. Monthly reporting is so important. And I know that there has been some confusion as of late with the silly ordering button. That ordering button has caused so many issues right now with leagues because they're ordering and they're like, why am I getting 1 pack? It's because you didn't report. It is a glitch. They do know about it. They understand. But set a schedule. Don't sit there and go, I never got an email. I didn't know when to report. You all know when to report. Let's be honest. It's the end of the month. It's usually a week before the end of the month. And yes, right now it is open. If you haven't reported, open now or do your reports now. Like right now, no. But make sure you're setting your calendar up for a week before the end of the month going, reporting's about to open, I better keep an eye out. Reporting's gonna open. Make sure you're keeping accurate attendance at your league events. Don't be that person that goes, everyone, and then hand it in. Because then you're gonna be stuck with a lot of promos and you're not gonna know what to do with them. Plus, it is very much frowned upon because as we know and as we have seen, there is a limit to the amount of product that they have to give us. How many times have some of you gotten double orders and don't know why? And then all of a sudden when the last month of the season comes around and they're like, oh, well, we're out of trophy cards. That's because of the double ordering. So, or not the double ordering, but the double shipping. So it happens, errors happen. So just make sure you go and you report. Yes, Will Post.
If somebody comes to my league challenge, my league cup, it doesn't normally come to my league. Should I be reporting that player?
Absolutely not.
Gosh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely not. The people you are reporting are your locals, your people that come to your league session. So if they walk in the door and they're there to trade or play a few games, they are technically on your roster. You check them off as in attendance. Do not count league challenges, league cups, premier challenges, midseason showdowns. They are technically not on your roster. They are players coming for CP, and it does not count as a league session, in case you didn't know. You're welcome. All right. Yeah, who, what?
Right over here.
Oh, yes.
With that being said, is it inadvisable to run a league session concurrent to a premier event happening in the store, provided that there's space for both?
You can do both, but please make sure that you are keeping track of who is your locals and have them sign in. League does involve playing a few games that are not championship point schedule run games. If they're there and they are playing casual games or an unsanctioned tournament that you're doing and they're playing games that have nothing to do with any of the premium events we have to offer, yes, sign them up, put them in. They're there for a league session. They're there in attendance. Scheduling events. I already talked about this earlier, but scheduling events. Make sure you talk to your fellow leagues that are nearby. Don't double up events. Don't make players choose where they have to go, because you're not going to be happy with the results. Work together. You're going to notice you're getting, depending on your area, 50, 60, 70 players coming in your cups because they didn't have to choose between you and Comic Shop B down the road. But instead, you're working with Comic Shop B down the road, and you're doing a weekend-long event where your shop gets one day, their shop gets another day, and you got players staying in hotels in the area, working together, and going to these events. It's much, much better. So please, when you're scheduling events, especially with the premium events like League Cups, League Challenges, Premier Challenges, and MSSs, talk to local league owners and shops to work together on the scheduling. Yes?
Just a quick note. Sometimes it's not possible to schedule a league challenge on a day that's not a league cup somewhere else. Sometimes it's not possible to schedule a league challenge on a different day from another league challenge in your area. We're not saying that that's something to avoid completely, but it's something to keep in mind.
And as a side note, players tend to enjoy when their league challenges are during the week. I get a much bigger attendance when I hold my league challenges during the week, just as a side note. Yes?
League challenges are very good during the week. They don't take long. They run them very quickly. No top cut ever in the league challenge.
Right.
Based on what he's saying, I can attest to that as well. I can get 50+ players per league challenge on a weeknight. It's doable.
It is doable, yes. Bobby's my fellow Floridian who is Central Florida, yes. Sorry, everybody. I know it's hard when you can't. Some of our people asking questions are quieter. I'm going to just kind of restate what Billy was saying so that you can all hear. Billy was saying, please try to foster Pokemon as much as possible. He gets some players that are bringing in other games, Keyforge, and playing it during your leagues. Please try to do your best to foster the game as much as possible, because if you're allowing them to play other games in your league, which it's okay, don't get me wrong, but the goal is to play Pokemon. We want to keep our players. If they're playing multiple games and we're losing players, you go, I wonder why we're losing players to Keyforge or to Magic. It could be because you're losing sight and you're losing focus of the main goal of your league. Just keep that in mind. Yes, and real quick, Doug, off of that, if you're a Poke parent in here and you don't own a league, but you have a kid that's in the league and you help out with the league, so help me God, you better take those parents aside and you better talk to them. I'm very lucky. I've got some great Poke parents at my league, one of them being Steve Retzloff, and he is always an advocate for this game when there are little ones there and their parents. He has so much information and knowledge to share. I will just give him the floor and talk to these parents as much as he wants if that means I'm going to get a stronger league. Rachel.
I have a strong point. What would you recommend about doing? Personally, my own mother hates the game. She wants me to do nothing with it.
Okay.
I also have a kid at my league that I've known for maybe 3 years now. He's approaching the end of high school, and his mother really does not want him to play, and it's causing huge issues. And like, kind of because I'm older, I'm a little more attached to him in that regard. He comes to me for advice, and I don't really know what to tell him about those couple parents that really are adamantly against the game.
Being advocates of the game, and what Rachel's trying to say is you're going to get parents that are going to push back. That happens with any game. It's not just Pokemon, it's every game that involves going around, spending money on pieces of cardboard. You're going to have parents that see it that way, as opposed to seeing it as a social building activity, an activity that talks about probability and mathematics. They're going to look past the fact of artwork. They're going to look past the fact that their child is out of the house, not on the street, and making decent friends in a safe environment. Parents tend to miss or downplay that and miss that whole trajectory. It is your job as league owners and league leaders, be advocates for the game. I haven't yet sat down. There was a couple parents that were like, I'm having issues with my school and I'm looking for articles. I haven't sat down. I still have access to my college library and I'm looking for articles. I got to sit down and look for articles. And I will be glad to share it with you if you're looking for advocate material. And just getting parents to understand it's more than just a piece of cardboard. This is more than just a room full of nerds. It is us having fun. Yes.
Like, so on Wednesday nights, we do a learn to play. And our whole idea in Rockford was, get the kids off the streets and get them coming in. And the way I pitched it to the parents, after school, you're teaching them to read, you're teaching them to do math. And once I open the parents, once you say reading and math to some of these parents, then they're like, okay, I'm all about it. And then what I also pitch to the parents is, hey, they see the cards in those cases. Well, maybe they can help you out at home and earn it, And
start speaking parent speak. Yeah. With that being said too, you know, do whatever you can, come up with creative ideas to really promote parent involvement, kid involvement, community involvement. Will just actually put me in the direction of a POCA parent that is now a TO and league owner. And she opened up her league in a library. The local library to community activities. This is a great way, and another environment that parents are like, oh yeah, this is a learning environment. It's a library full of books. Yeah, sure, I'll bring my kid here. And then what she does, since she's not a brick and mortar store, she talks to the local leagues and the local owners and sends kids that way for competitive play. Sends them more players, builds them up, educates them at the league at the library, and then pushes them out to the local leagues at the stores. Yes?
Maintaining your whole thing about using league and stuff, that new league owner, she started because her son played in his first regionals this year and loved the way that the Yeti put it on, was so impressed, she wanted to become a TO and start her own league and support the kids in her area.
So sorry.
So Vince is paying it forward. I'm going to wrap things up here. Make sure you communicate with your player base. Make sure you talk to them. They're the ones that you have the league for. If they have concerns, take their concerns, not necessarily to heart, take it with a grain of salt, but kind of see where they're coming from. Adjust if you need to based on what they're asking, if it's within reason. Same thing with parents. If it's within reason, work around it. Maintain a positive relationship with location owners. Make sure your players are cleaning up after themselves. Make sure that they are a great representation for the store. Make sure that the store owners are like, these are the cleanest players I have. And if you are a league owner, manage your league leaders. They are there to assist you. I cannot run the 3 leagues I own and the one I assist with without helping manage all of my league leaders. It is difficult at times because everybody has conflicting schedules, but you are ultimately trying to manage it like it's a business in the sense of what can you do to help them out? What do they need? How are we, and if you need new league leaders or league owners, what are you doing to build them up? What are you doing to educate them to take over if they need to take over? Yes?
So I'm a very brand new TCG judge and TO judge, and I've been loving the game ever since I finally opened up my first league back at home, and my issue is that my players aren't as competitive as everyone else. And so if you guys have anything that you can share with me, I would love it. But for those of you who have 2 competitive players, I took a note from the professor class. I heard that there was a 30-card format that basics weren't allowed. Do that for your league. Have a whole month dedicated to someone being a league leader, either being the kid or some other of your league leaders. Have prizes for that. I make further gym badges. The kids are now wanting to be the new gym leaders. Make a new format other than expanded and standard to get that community back together.
And then that's a really good point, and that goes right back to that sheet that I gave you, thinking up ideas in order to help your league out. And just going off real quick, and then I'm going to end it. Not all the leagues I own are competitive. Not all the leagues I own are competitive. I have a couple competitive, and I have a couple casual, and it works out just fine. I report, and you know what? Those leagues that aren't competitive, they still get their cups, they still get their challenges, but all the other locals that are competitive will come to those events anyway. But that doesn't mean you're going to lose your player base. So as long as you're reporting, you're providing that resource for them, do it. If it works for your league, do it. You're fostering that is your objective, fostering the game. Yes?
Quick last idea before we jump off the leagues. Thank you, Daryl, for your topic.
And thank you, everybody. There was a lot of great questions, and I really enjoyed everybody sharing their thoughts.
We had a great series of events. We have a Wednesday night competitive and a Sunday afternoon casual. Our Sunday afternoon casual fell in love that we were doing type challenges for a bunch of types in a row. We did a lightning challenge, unlimited deck building, You couldn't play anything but supporters, no trainers, and every Pikachu could get 2 energy attached to it per turn. And all of a sudden, people were throwing Pikachus everywhere, and it was a lot of fun. Grass Pokemon were a grass Pokemon. This is actually where the last Professor Cup came from. The grass Pokemon on the bench could advance and take the damage and then sneak back to the bench. The casual players love creative little ideas like that and share them. Everybody's had something really cool that's worked with your casuals. That ends the Professor seminar portion.